Hello, my name is Tyler, and I have a question for you. When you hear social media and adolescence, what thoughts wander into your mind? Chances are those thoughts are probably not too positive. The current outlook on social media's presence is largely negative. Things like cyberbullying, misleading propaganda, exposure to violence, and sexual harassment online, especially to our vulnerable populations of teenagers, are common stories these days. But social media is already so heavily integrated into youth lifestyles all around the world. So, are there any benefits to using social media? This project takes a look into a more specific aspect of emotional regulation among adolescents and how technology plays a role in that. The research question is: what are the positive factors technology and social media have that promote emotional regulation? How significant are they? What type of impact do they lead to in personal and group settings? And how many adolescents does this affect? To carry out this project, we did a systematic literature review. To do this, we picked out 6 open databases, including APA PsycNet, Web of Science, PubMed, and 3 more, and typed a bunch of search terms in it related to anything regarding our research question. This includes terms like technology, social media, teenager, online, dysregulation, stress, positive, and synonyms of all those words. We then came up with inclusion and exclusion criteria. Some of the inclusion criteria being they had to have a population in the study of adolescents aged 11 to 19. The articles had to be from 2009 and up. The study had to examine the relationship between digital media use and emotional regulation as an outcome or qualitative theme. And if the article discusses irritability or a topic within the difficulties in emotional regulation scale, subscales. Some of the exclusion criteria includes if the article is written in a language other than English, if the article is about online learning in schools, if it's a systematic review, or if it's out of our age range. Through, through going through these 6 databases, we had a total of 1,458 articles identified. We then transferred them into a platform called Rayon, where we deleted the duplicates, leaving 1,046 articles eligible for screening. Then we began our first level of screening. We did this by me and a couple of my team members going through the titles and abstracts of each of them and using the inclusion and exclusion criteria, deciding if it fit our research question or not. After going through this process once, there were still some articles that were so-so, so we did a second level of screening by reading the full text. After this process, a total of 1,028 articles were excluded due to things like emotional regulation not being an outcome, it wasn't written in English, or it wasn't our target age group, and a total of 18 articles remained. Out of these 18 studies, some of the most notable quantitative longitudinal ones included results like a mobile phone app that can have effective mood tracking, coping skills, and learning information on stress and self-esteem. A couple articles also talked about digital emotional regulation, where adolescents or people use social media as a tool to regulate their negative emotions, as well as promote positive emotions. It was found in some articles that adolescents who use digital ER were more frequently able to recover more effectively from peak emotions by the end of the day, and coping with loneliness. Another result was that staying connected with friends online was one of the most common and effective coping strategies. And social media also served as a tool for distraction, emotional release, and contributed to better coping and mood regulation. Some of the most notable outcomes of quantitative cross-sectional studies included things like Instagram's close friends feature, which had themes of seeking support, releasing emotion, and self-expression beneficial for teens who use that feature. Another result was finding out that sexting may form as a form of emotional coping during periods of isolation or stress. And when teens experience their psychological needs being met through social media, they have more positive emotions, less guilt or distress, and therefore better emotional regulation. For the qualitative studies of the 18 articles that were eligible, there was a strong theme of the importance of social support networks, with adolescents seeking help from close online friends, helping their emotional regulation. There was also digital tools like apps that could help facilitate emotional recovery and social connection. And finally, social media served as a creative outlet for many, serving as a protective mechanism, fostering emotional well being and resilience. Moving on to the discussion, it's firstly important to note that there is a lack of research from Eastern countries out of the 18 articles eligible in my results. 80% of the articles came from Western, educated, industrialized, rich democratic countries, and one must critically think about what information might be missing from our results by including mainly this population with a very different social culture than other parts of the world. Another thing is to kind of compare this to other results out there. People use video games for relaxing, coping with stress, or escaping from negative emotions. Instant messaging tools have often been found to help with emotional regulation through self reflection and social sharing, and even online shopping has been shown in some situations to be to desire motivated by the desire to shape one's mood. The online sphere has much to offer besides negative experiences to the adolescents across the world. And now that we know some of these emotional regulation strategies, we know what to start emphasizing. Finally, for implications, as we can see from our results, there are digital apps and certain things you can do online to help adolescents build up their emotional regulation skills. So, with this information, people who work with teens should offer resources such as these mood tracking apps to help support students' emotional well being. They should also encourage them to utilize these social support networks, whether this means sharing experiences on private online platforms such as close friends, or just engaging more in DMs with online friends that they might not see in real life all the time, and especially during periods of isolation. And lastly, teens should be encouraged to engage with the side of social media that helps them meet their internal needs that involve these emotional regulation strategies. Finally, this research should be further utilized into active and restrictive media parenting. Thank you.